Hello there. I hope you've managed to watch, well, it's not really watch to be fair, it's listen to the video that I took when I chatted to our silent witnesses, the suited mannequins in Glasgow. Ironically, me and Dino had left the pub to go, and we had a spare 45 minutes heading back up to Buchanan bus station. As I passed them going down, and he'd seen them at Central Station, we thought we'd have a chat, and I don't know if the word had got round, but at least as we went back, they're gone, and the next thing is, it's all right, they've gone to get their bus, it's safe to come out. Then they came out, not expecting me to come back out again. It may not have happened, I don't know. Anyway, needless to say, if you've listened to this, and I luckily, this complete stranger who came in, I've got his name now, but I had to say to him, by the way, I don't know this guy, this isn't planned. But when this funny thing, the video, I forgot that when he came in, and when the version of Brother Bouncer came in, he went, "Oh, it is a stern-looking face," or trying to handle the apostate. It was quite amusing, and he sort of disappeared, very quickly. And the lassie never returned. I've actually realised I know who she is. I used to know her, God's sake, a long, long time ago, even before I was married, because she was an East Kilbride. I think her name's Anne. I think her surname was Kyle, and she married this guy. I've forgotten who he was, but anyway, that's a different story. So I spoke to this guy, as you can hear in the video, and needless to say, I can't do what Dino does, which Dino can come in chapter and verse and literally, stun these people with the things that they're changing in the society and their scriptural basis for their belief. I just go on a completely a level that I think maybe they'll understand, just normal common sense, explain this to me, and even me trying my very hardest to keep this as uncomplicated as possible still results with them having no answers. Literally, I think one of the ones I was referring to was especially the higher education one, where he was saying to me, yeah, but in these days, a lot more pressures, and you've got to look after your family more. And I said to him, so there wasn't in 1981, 92, 82, 83? And he went, oh, well, I'll take that point. For everything he said, that I come to him and says, what about this, what about that? Whatever he said, I then came back with. And then he realised, yeah, that, you have a point. Whether I've made any difference with him, I don't really know. I'm hoping maybe some of the things I said, because he clearly said he's only been a witness for 10 years. Actually, he did say it didn't look like 63, that was nice. But anyway, and also that thing about jw.org, I didn't mention, I'd never thought about saying it to before, and I said, you're afraid to identify that you're Jehovah's Witnesses, and both go, no, we're proud to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, why isn't that on your card? You have jw.com. That could stand for anything, JohnWilliams.com, the famous composer, Could be something to do with that. It's bizarre, all these different things that JW could stand for, it's just bizarre. You can all think different JWs, like it could be JohnWayne.com after the actor, John Wayne Bobbitt. Well, you don't look at any of his links. John Wayne Casey. Oh no, the killer clown. If you see what I mean, it's JW.com, and they seem to think because it says JW that people straight away think JW.com as a sort of walkabout. Oh, these must be Jehovah's Witnesses, despite the fact that there's nothing there that says, it actually says Jehovah's Witnesses, but they're afraid to say that. And the interesting bit was, I sort of defeated this guy with complete logic and common sense when he said to me, the reason why they don't approach people in the streets is because they don't want to be in their faces. And I then said to him very quickly, do you still go to people's doors? Yes. And I went, well, you can't be more in somebody's face and going onto somebody's private property, walking up the path, pressing the bell, opening the porch door, going into the porch, chapping the door, and then speaking to somebody on their private property while they're busy cooking their dinner or whatever they're doing at their time. You can't be more in the face than going to somebody's door. And when you listen to that, you could just realise, oh, he's got me again. He's got me again. Everything that came up with, I was going, nah, that just doesn't make any sense. And the very last bit, the bit where I said when the sort of brother bouncer waded in and said, everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows what we're here for. Deluded. And I actually said to them, I said, do you want me to, I think I says, yeah, that, you're saying you're just letting all these people go. And he actually said, he was a little bit naughty, that guy. He was a little bit naughty, because I says, you and I know that all these people are going to die if Armageddon's tomorrow. And he says, no, they're not. It's up to their hearts, that old chestnut. No, and I went, what, Muslims? Protestants? Catholics? It's up to the heart condition. If that's the case that Jehovah tomorrow, if Armageddon comes tomorrow, and he would judge people on their heart condition, what is the point in preaching? If right now Jehovah can look at 7 billion people's hearts and see whether, if somebody actually talked to them, spoke to them, would their heart at that particular point allow them to become a Jehovah's Witness? In fact, people's hearts do change. So it's a little bit unfortunate if he says, well, basing on the 31st of August tomorrow, if your heart won't be in the right place, you're going to die. You may change your mind as other people have had the change of heart. But sorry, I can just look at 31st of August 2025 and I can see that in your present state, your heart won't accept it, even if you were approached by somebody who decided to speak to you on the street. It's just utter nonsense to say, oh no, Jehovah decides. In other words, he was diminishing the fact that 7 billion people are probably going to die at Armageddon unless you're baptized, practicing Jehovah's Witnesses. It goes out and witnesses about the good news of this kingdom, and then the end will come. To actually just then say, oh, well, we don't know that. You do know that. If you didn't know that, you wouldn't be standing here now trying to not persuade these people to become Jehovah's Witnesses in the first place. And he's actually under this illusion by just standing there that everybody who walks past knows who they are and what they represent. No, they don't. Maybe when the Jehovah's Witnesses were more out in the field service again and again and again, and people knew what they were about. But we've got more generations of people who just see these strange dudes with cart, not speaking, and just don't even know who they are. To actually think that as all these people walking past them, well, if they had the right heart condition, if they know that we're here to tell them about the good news of the kingdom, that Armageddon could come tomorrow and them and their family, their cat and their dog are going to die, well, it's up to them to approach us. It's just bizarre for these people to actually think that somehow what they're doing today constitutes preaching. If you Google preaching, look at all the explanations of the word preaching, standing still and silent is not one of them. Part of the whole explanation of preaching is that you do actually present a sermon or you talk to people, you preach. You preach using your voice and your mouth to talk to people. Standing there doing this is not preaching. That's just standing there doing that. That is not preaching. And you think about the songs, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. If they think the songs is all about, fearless, and if you think about all the Jehovah's Witnesses who died in concentration camps or were put in gulags for trying to actually witness to people, all the risks that all these people took, and you get all these guys who can't even be bothered to speak to people. It is staggering. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If these guys weren't on the street, every time I go anywhere, I see these guys, wouldn't be so bothered by the witnesses. I can maybe crack on and move on with my life a little bit more, but literally they so annoy me by what they do. I just feel I just have to say something. Maybe anybody watching this goes, oh, well, it doesn't bother me, just walk past them and just laugh at them, really. But I walk past them thinking, Christ almighty, that was me, going back, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago. But that wouldn't be me, because I'd be then saying, No, this isn't right. We can't just stand here. This is not preaching. No wonder the end hasn't come, boys and girls. The reason why the end hasn't come, if you believe in those things, is because the good news of the kingdom is not being preached, to the entire inhabited earth, because you're standing there saying nothing. So it's not preaching. Armageddon's never going to come because you're not preaching about the good news of the kingdom. Yet again. Anyway, that's enough for me. I'm going. I don't know when I'll be speaking to the Carters again, but needless to say, it was good to actually, for a change, to record the conversation, because quite often when I speak to the Carters, I carry in mind what I've said or what they said. But then it was there for everybody to listen to the typical conversation that I go through when I speak to the Carters. As you can see, at the end of the day, they literally run away. It's code word, isn't it time for your break, brother? And Madeline chunters off. At least Madeline shook my hand. The other guy, who you see at the beginning of the video, he is just another brother bouncer who just weighed in and will literally just... I'd actually love to honestly just stand there next to them with just a big sign saying, religion is a snare or a racket. Or having one of those megaphones just saying, please speak to these people. Please speak to these people. These people here believe, boys and girls, everybody, that you're all going to die if Armageddon comes tomorrow. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that, but that's what they believe. 7 billion people are going to die tomorrow, so you really need to go and speak to them. They can't approach you, but you need to speak to them. There you have it. I'd love to do that, but maybe for another day. Right, see you later. Bye-bye.